This shop's one of a kind. We never know what might turn up. Some days, it could be a grand old classic. Other days, maybe a muscle car, even a military vehicle. Some jobs are quick fixes. Others are full-blown restorations. And on occasion, million-dollar recreations. My only rule, perfection. And that's the kind of thing that we do at the Guild Garage. I sent Thomas and Larry off to Grand Prairie, Alberta, to take a look at a guy's collection.
There's a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Lee who has a 7 Superbird collection. It's really rare, and it's something that he's asked us to help on. So I'm really excited to see what's going on. Larry has to come with me because Larry is like the king of Mopar nuts.
I've been a Chrysler enthusiast for years. And we're going to go out to look at these cars and check it out and see if it's the real deal or not.
If I don't bring Larry, I might never hear the end of it. And at the same time, it's better to have someone who really knows what they're doing be there with me. The Superbird is actually born out of NASCAR. It was originally a Roadrunner that had been modified with the Daytona package. It was specifically ordered by Richard Petty that Chrysler make them a wing car that he could race. So they went with Plymouth, they used the Roadrunner, and out of it came the Superbird.
NASCAR required that any car that would compete in that series had to have a minimum of 500 cars built to compete. So Chrysler built, I think, around 2,000 of them that we know of. And they had to be distributed to dealers and offered for sale to the general public. That was part of the rules.
Dave is really excited about the fact that we have the Superbird thing, but at the same time, he's also skeptical from the years and years and years that he's been doing this.
There's nothing wrong with a fake muscle car if you pay fake muscle car money for it. But if you pay all the money for an original and it turns out to be a fake, then that's an issue. So as good as something like this looks, we have to be absolutely certain before we put our name behind something that what we're dealing with is the real deal.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Dwayne.
Dwayne, nice to meet you, Thomas.
Pleased to meet you.
Daryl?
Larry.
Larry. Yep.
Pleased to meet you.
Daryl. How are you? Good.
Well, tell me, with those long, flat stretches and you have all of those Superbirds, how fast have you gotten them up to?
110, 120 miles an hour.
Yeah?
Yeah, we've run the roads a little bit.
Well, I know that Larry's getting antsy to see what's
Oh,
happening.
you want to see what's
yes.
happening?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'll open
Yeah.
the door for you.
That's what it's all about. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what's going on. This is really rare because we have all 7 colors that were originally offered for the car all in one place with one owner, and apparently one car that is very special.
There's a lot of projects that come and go in this place, but some of them sort of come and stay a long time, and this Mini's a great example of that. The client fancied having his Mini sort of just made a little spiffier. Didn't run that well. It was a little bit down at the heels through age. So we set about creating the car that he wanted. And the next step is basically putting the engine back together again. It's in 1 million pieces now. We need to reassemble it, get it ready to install.
I've been tasked to put this Mini back together. I wasn't the one that took it apart, so it's been a little bit of a challenge because I'm not that familiar when it comes to anything British, really.
So James,
Yes.
how you enjoying this?
It's a project.
One of the things that I want James to do is to get out of his comfort zones. I want to see him working on things that he doesn't necessarily like a whole bunch, but does just as good and just as professional a job on, because that's the important thing. And this is a little Mini Cooper. This is a great little car.
Yeah, for somebody's stature smaller than mine, yeah.
I'm sort of having fun putting a big guy in a little car. You're a big guy. When this car is finished, you'll actually fit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because with no interior in, no seats,
No, you'll see. When the seats are in there, we'll have this conversation again.
all right.
Well, I think that you finally made it to Mopar heaven.
Look at these babies. Yep. Unbelievable.
Dwayne contacted me a little while ago to let me know about the Superbird collection and asking whether or not I had any contacts that might actually help him with selling the entire collection as a whole.
I wanted to work with someone other than, you know, I guess other than auction houses and make it more personable.
We now have to verify that they are what they are and everything is good. And from there, we can actually assess a value.
Holy Christ. Unbelievable. Look at this. Oh, my baby. Oh, it was overwhelming. I saw these cars race when I was a kid. I've seen it, I think one of them in real life years ago at a car show, but to see all those in a row, proper colors in authentic cars, that blew me away.
Here's all the documentation for all the cars. Daryl has done all of that. That was one of their advertisements because they built it for NASCAR, but they had to build so many to get on the road. And if you read it, it's kind of neat. They got the still in the background and the road runner and the boys, the good old boys.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Wow, that's, I don't know what to say.
Well, basically, rebuilding an engine is like performing heart surgery. The slightest wrong move, heart could explode.
You know, Larry, that was all fun.
Yep.
But let's go for a ride.
The cars are absolutely impeccable. What I'm really blown away by is the Petty blue car. NASCAR Hall of Famer Richard Petty made this particular shade of blue famous.
Well, Larry, as a note on that, that car's never been painted.
I can't believe that this car has never been painted, it has never been touched in any real way.
The number was around 50 of these that they built. This is a six-pack white interior car, so it's very rare, and it's unpainted.
This is original paint.
That's original paint.
Good God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that coming here. I thought that all the cars had been restored. So this puts that car into a completely different category than the other Superbirds that are there.
Well, not too often you'll get to sit in a Richard Petty corporate blue car, so why don't you go ahead and do that?
Shit. I grew up as a young man working on Chrysler products, but in the community I lived in, the owner of the dealership didn't order any Superbirds because he knew there'd be no market for them. I worked on Plymouth, but not on a Superbird, so this was the first time experience for me to actually get in a Superbird. It's a unique sound. It's like the little road runner on when you were a kid watching the cartoons. Meep, meep. This particular models of Superbird that this gentleman has are all properly restored to factory specifications, proper parts. Nothing's been omitted or added. Oh, this is something else. This is just friggin' gorgeous. Some of these cars are better than Chrysler built them. It's superb. It's excellent craftsmanship. Every car is unique. It has its own...
That's right. All the cars here have a different combination of engines or interiors.
They're keeping them in a facility that's climate controlled. They look after them well. They have them jacked up. Another fine example, yeah. There's a maintenance man hired full-time just to start them up once a month and make sure that everything's kept lubricated and working good. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's state-of-the-art. How many people get the opportunity to see all those lined up at one time in their life?
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
We believe, as we know right now, it's the only collection in the world of all 7 colors.
You know exactly what you're doing.
You know, Larry, that was all fun.
Yep.
But let's go for a ride.
Oh,
Let's take old Yeller here and go for a spin.
By all means.
Looking's fine, but let's ride.
Whichever one is fine with me.
Let's take this girl.
This little car was in storage over the winter and everything, and I think it was in last time for extended work about a year ago. It's come back in now, and it's sort of almost in that last rush. We're doing final assembly. All the paint is done. We're putting the engine together at this point.
So the customer basically wants this 998cc engine to be more of a little bit of a more high-performance engine. So he supplied us with more racy kind of parts. There wasn't really anything wrong per se with this engine. It's had a few clicks on it, but it's more of a facelift. It's not person's ugly or anything. It's just age tends to get the better of all of us. Well, basically, rebuilding an engine is like performing heart surgery. You're very, very tight clearances, very precision work. The slightest wrong move or the slightest too much of a gap or too little of a gap, and your heart could explode.
One of the most important tools to have, when you're building a motor, working on any part of the car, is a torque wrench. Every manufacturer has preset torques. This is what the bolts, nuts, things are supposed to be torqued to. It is tightening to a specific foot-pound or inch-pound, so it's not too tight, not too loose. And this is manufacturer's recommendation.
In order to check the clearance for the crankshaft bearings, we use a tool called Plastigauge. It's basically like dental floss. You chop a piece off, lay it perpendicular to the actual bearing, and then you got to torque it down to the proper manufacturer's spec.
2. Okay, time to take back off.
Then you lift the bearing off. The plastic will be crushed to a certain width. And you take a measuring device, and whatever width that plastic is crushed to is what your actual clearance is.
2?
Yeah, it looks closer to 2 for me.
Perfect. The clearances are very fine. They are 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch, so determining that clearance is very important for the longevity of the motor. Too much clearance, and you're gonna lose pressures, and it's gonna end up pounding the bearings out too tight, and it's going to heat up and burn the bearing surface off.
Step into her, yeah.
Ready? Yeah, set.
Larry and I were on our way here. I didn't actually give any indication that Larry might be able to drive a car. Dwayne and I had talked about it a little bit.
Okay, game on.
I was very surprised the owner of these cars would actually allow someone unknown to him to drive his vehicle on the road.
Okay.
All right, so now that they're off having fun and playing,
Right.
why don't you show me some of the research that's gone into these cars?
Sure, let's have a look. For us, it's very important because it's a paper trail, because there's clones out there, you want to assure people they're real. And so we made sure we could get as much as we could. Well, this one's got the most complete information because it's with the Petty Bird. Just an overview of the posters. And then we get into some more of the specs. So basically we got pictures of the stampings on the engine.
Yep.
And the transmission, basically to show...
This is all really important because those are original casting
That's your
marks.
casting.
These block codes actually will give you the time and day.
You can get
as well.
almost right down to the exact day when they cast those blocks.
When the cars were originally manufactured, all of the Superbirds had casting numbers and numbers that were stamped into their individual components. The engine, the transmission, the rear end, the body, the front chassis member, all of these areas had the VIN code that were stamped into it to show that this car had these items.
So it's pretty important to have those to prove that the motor in that is everything original.
Another build sheet.
Yeah, most do have the build sheets. I think there's 3 that don't.
As a researcher, I can say right now that Daryl's work is absolutely impeccable. He has gone above and beyond to not only document these vehicles, but showcase the documentation. It's amazing, and I absolutely take my hat off to him. Well, we got this 1968 Mini motor together. Everything's put on it. The carburetors are on it. The bell housings are on it. We have a new test stand. We're going to put it on and try it out. We've been looking forward to running a motor on this stand. The test stand's the best way to do this, so we're not in the car and then find out that there's an issue. It's plug and play, hooks up, has all the right connections to hook up. It has temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge. It comes with its own fuel tank, own coolant tank that fills the engine and drains the engine as well afterwards. So we don't have to worry about, you know, burping the system and adding a radiator. It has its own radiator, has electric fans. It's a great setup. We just hook everything up and, you know, hit the button and it should fire up. Ready? Yeah, set. Zero.
Zero.
So we get everything on, hooked up, press the button, and we have no start. So now we're going back through a few scenarios, recheck our timing, recheck everything.
Step into her, yeah. Nice. They didn't sell exactly like they thought they would, but they did do their job at NASCAR because when they raced and they broke lots of records and they were super fast.
There's two things into play here. As a result of the wind tunnel testing, the extension of the front sheet metal with the lowered snout and the hideaway headlights, that put downforce pressure as speed increased on the front of the car, on the suspension, on the steering, so that they can control it. And the airflow over the roof, they redesigned the rear glass so that the airflow come down nicely and then it hit the wing, and they could control the angle of the wing so they could control downforce on the back of the rear suspension of the cars. Upon further testing, they found that at higher speeds, if the back got loose, the front, they couldn't bring it back. So they put the two air vents in the front fenders to release trapped air from under the car, forcing it up. So now we were expelling the air from underneath the car and planning that the whole body, the faster you went, the more air pressure that was on the body. So it was glued to the track like rails. Well, it's just got itself planted right on the road because of the body styling. Like just planned on the road. I don't have to correct it or anything. It goes where I find it. I had the best days of my life in these cars.
Hey, David. We have build sheets. We have some of the window stickers for the cars as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. We got the Mini Cooper engine on the test stand, and we're getting ready to fire. So we pressed start, and nothing. We found we had no spark, so we started going through some scenarios.
Timing's out.
Timing's out a little bit. Okay, we'll go this way. We think it's timing because we're getting spark at odd times. We're getting backfires through the carburetor, and we're getting backfires through the exhaust. Now we need to change the timing. As we're trying to start the motor, I'm turning the distributor just to, you know, advance it a little bit, see if we can't get it to fire up. And that's just what we do when you're trying to start a motor. You can just physically do it, and then it should start. It's a little frustrating when things, you know, don't go right. Ready? Finally, we got our spark issue figured out, timed it, you know, set the timing up. It fired instantly and, you know, ran fantastic. Beautiful.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds really good. Well, our clearances must be just perfect.
Pretty bang on.
Yep. It was so worth the trip to see these Superbirds. I have to talk to David and see where he wants to go from here.
May I help you?
Hey, Dave, it's Thomas calling. Just wanted to check in with you.
Yeah.
Let you know that we came out, we've taken a look at the Superbirds, and, you know, they're everything that Dwayne said that they were and more. All the books are in order for all of them. We have build sheets, we have some of the window stickers for the cars as well, which is absolutely phenomenal.
We're not going to be messing around here with guys going, oh, well, that's fake.
There's no question on the car's provenance on any of them whatsoever. Everything is in order.
Okay, that's good. Well, then the next major job with this is going to be get copies of the documents and the photographs and everything so that we have absolutely no problems explaining to people the authenticity of the cars.
As far as saleability, yeah, the entire collection is good to go.
I'll roll up my sleeves and start talking to people who I think are qualified to buy it.
All right, I'll see you in a bit then.
Have a good flight.
Fantastic. It'll be in my memories for the rest of my life. I can say that in my lifetime, I've driven the factory-prepped Superbird.
So you did end up driving.
Oh, yeah,
You
know
drove
what?
that pretty well
I
the
had
whole
this
way.
baby doing 120 miles an hour. We still had more jam in her, but
410 gears, that's good.
yep.
The collection is everything you said and more. If we find the right guy, we can probably get some kind of a deal in place. And we might be able to move it quickly. It might take some time, but if you're on board, I'm on board.
Yeah, we're in no rush here. Everything is good.
That specific collection, it's a 50th anniversary coming up, and it might be time for a collector that can enjoy them, but it has to be the right person and the right value.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for...
Thank you for
Larry?
having me and letting me see these beautiful.
Well, thanks for taking me for that ride.
Nice to meet you.
I have to say this is my first trip to Alberta, and I've had an absolute blast. The scenery, everything here is beautiful. And for me to be able to spend it with Dwayne and also with Daryl and the Superbird collection, I really don't know how it would get any better.